This is AJ from Sports Hub Media with JD Young from Locked On Sharks podcast and Anthony Donati, aka the Prospect Don. First, how are we all doing?
Doing good. Very excited to be here. I know Shang was everyone was very excited when Shang came on, and it's big footsteps to follow Shang Peng on here. So
Yeah, that intro is awesome. The first time I had JD Young on my channel, I was not that accurate on, your description of. So thank you so much for that introduction. The Shang video was awesome. I saw that, and I think that was like a little bit after the draft, and I had just had like three food truck burritos with Shang and really got to know him. So that he's a great guy. So awesome to be on.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, you guys have pretty good videos too.
they're okay at best. They're okay at best.
Okay.
God, JD has much better videos than I. The algorithm is kicking me right now, but we'll be back on top soon.
Okay, so let's start with some hometown bias. How well do you think the Sharks will do this year?
I'll go first here since I guess I cover the Sharks.
Yeah.
I think the Sharks are going to be a better team this year than they were last year, but I don't think that's a very hard bar to climb over since they were the worst team in the NHL last year. I think this team will, as we've seen so far early in the season, right? They'll be competitive most nights. I still think they're going to struggle to kind of finish games as we've seen with two horrible collapses to start the season, but I think they're just going to be more competitive, right? And even if you look at how they were 2 years ago, where they were just getting blown out night after night, last year they were much more competitive, and they're just continuing to kind of take these steps. So I still think this team finishes probably most likely in the top five come the NHL draft, which is great because Anthony will tell you this draft is shaping up to be pretty nice so far, especially if you need a right-handed defenseman. But we're continuing to see these baby steps, and the hope is that next year the Sharks can kind of take bigger strides.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I think that the Sharks probably will be kind of closer to the McKenna race than a playoff race, but I love the Sharks actually. I know that there's a bit of a rivalry between the Blackhawks and the Sharks just based on rebuild, but one of my college roommates, one of my best friends, is actually a diehard Sharks fan. I've gotten to watch him see the development of guys like William Eklund. I loved Will Smith in his draft here. I think Sam Dickinson is absolutely super underrated, really smart. I think he's a top pair defenseman, in my honest opinion, and someone that goes under the radar. And then Macklin Celebrini is one of my favorite players to watch in the entire league. I mean, he was playing for the Chicago Steel and my neck of the woods, and everybody loved this guy. He was the talk of the town. Then the Blackhawks got Bedard, and everybody turned on Macklin Celebrini a little bit, but he's been incredible. I think that he pairs up to be the leader, one of the leaders of the NHL, the face of the NHL, definitely a Selke Award winner, probably in his career. 100 plus points in my opinion. I think people are rating him at 90, but you got to push that up to 100. What we're seeing, he's just incredible. Michael Misa is incredible. I think that the Sharks are going to be a very big contender, perennial contender for a very long time. So this is just kind of the maybe last year of that bottom five finish, in my opinion. So you guys are in a really good spot.
Yeah, I think like you said, right? And with these rebuilds, the worst thing is you don't want to be like the Sabres or where you're kind of stuck, right? You want to try to be the next Avalanche, you want to try to be the next Lightning, or as long as you have these core players, right? Whether it's Celebrini or Bedard, you put enough great talent around them that you can be that next team that no matter as long as they're there, you feel like you got a chance to maybe win the whole thing. Or even if you go back to the Sharks of the Glory Sharks, right? With Thornton and Marlowe and Pavelski and some of these other guys, where as long as they were on the team, you felt like this team had a chance to win the cup. And I think that's all you can ask for is just put yourself in the position. So it's been a very painful past few years. And this year's probably not going to be much better. But there's a reason why they keep saying the future is teal. Like this team will start to win games here really soon.
And how about the Blackhawks? Because that's where Anthony is. So,
Yeah, I think the Blackhawks and the Sharks are in very similar spots here. I do think that it's going to be another bottom five finish. I would be surprised if they were outside of that, just because a lot of teams got a lot better, and the Blackhawks didn't really acquire any talent. I know that they acquired Lafferty for a sixth round pick, which everybody was kind of excited about to get him back the third time, but I think he's going to get some minutes and stuff, but it's just not going to push the needle. Bedard has looked really fast this year. I think it's going to be a more exciting year for Blackhawks fans. I love Frankie Nazar. The thing is, Artem Levshunov and Kevin Korchinski, I think that the fans are at a point where they're not turning on them at all, but there's some questions rising up, and I just feel like you got to let them play it out. I mean, these guys are very, very young.
Yep.
They are way younger than I am, so I can't really be critical on them. Artie looks great some nights. He looks like a potential star, and then there's some nights where, like I would like him to just like have a better pair defenseman that is more defensive. So the Blackhawks are going to be in the same spot. I kind of prefer the Sharks forwards rather than on paper for the future, but I really like the Blackhawks back end, but it's going to be the exact same thing. Bottom five finish, really exciting, but there's going to be some games where they get like lose 5-0 and Blackhawks fans are going to go crazy.
I do like Spencer Knight. Like he looks legit. He is a little bit older, which is weird to say, but like Spencer Knight, who he does have a little bit more experience, but he feels like a player that the Blackhawks can absolutely build around in that. And I think, especially with the Sharks, where they have a little bit more questions with Askarov, and I think it's fair to say Askarov might have a higher ceiling than the Knight, and that's I think a very fun debate. But like Spencer Knight's just a little bit further along with his development right now, so I think Knight might win a couple games that maybe the Blackhawks are he might steal a few games for them, but Knight has had a really great start to this season. And but yeah, I think the Sharks forwards and the Blackhawks defense is going to be a really fun kind of debate on how you build a team here. And as we're, and if the Blackhawks get some guy named Gavin McKenna, that'll be a really interesting addition. And then if the Sharks can get like a guy like Verhoff or whoever, this draft might actually work out really nicely for both of them if
Yeah.
they both finish kind of where we expect them to. So
Yeah, really well said. I completely agree with JD there. Keaton Verhoff would be the perfect fit for that Sharks organization. But if you guys get Gavin McKenna, I am going to be up at night just thinking about that roster. I am terrified if that happens.
yeah,
So moving on, who do you think will make the Stanley Cup? So the conference champions for each conference, and who do you think will win it?
go ahead, Anthony. I'll let you start because I keep jumping in.
Well, I think that there's a tier of contenders in the West, and I think it's like the Stars, the Oilers have to be in there at some point, and then the Knights. I My pick for the Stanley Cup is right now the Panthers versus the Golden Knights, but I could totally see that being wrong. I just I think that the Panthers lose to the Golden Knights. I think that it would be really cool to see a three-peat just in all sports, but I know that the Chiefs couldn't pull it away a couple of years ago, or last year, but I think the Knights are going to win the Stanley Cup this year. They got Marner. They look a lot better on paper than they're actually playing this year, but I just losing Barkov, if he's back for the playoffs, I think it changes things. But I think that the Knights are better suited. But I would like to see a team in Canada win for the first time in a long time because I think it would kind of be pretty cool.
How about you?
I really like Colorado. I think Colorado is one of the best teams on paper this year. I really like Colorado. Last time I checked, they also have Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon, who are two, if not like two of the top five players, no, regardless of position on their team. I think this team is really deep. I think they have secondary scoring, and like their questions are basically like, well, can some of their older guys get back to being who they were pre-injury? But I really like Colorado. I have Colorado defeating the Carolina Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup. I just think like this Colorado team just it's hard for me to find a weakness, and I think Mackenzie Blackwood's very good. And I think with that team, you don't like if your goaltending is very good, I think it'll be enough for them. But yeah, I really like the Avalanche this year.
That would be a fun matchup because both teams lost Rantanen. So
The
it's like
Rantanen Bowl, yes, would be
yeah.
amazing, absolutely amazing. How about you, AJ? Who do you like? Who do you think is going to win this year?
I think I'm the Western Conference is either going to be the Oilers or Vegas, so a rematch. So either one of those teams in the East. I think I'm going with Carolina because I mean Florida's good, but I don't know with Alexander Barkov out for the regular season and Matthew Tkachuk out for the next couple months. That you never know how people might be after the injury. Like a Klay Thompson in the NBA, he got injured and he was never really the same as he was before.
It's a fair point.
Yeah, you named one of each of our teams, so that was
Yes.
pretty good. I feel better about that.
100%. Yes.
And that brings us to the Florida Panthers, which we all just mentioned. Do you think a three-peat is possible for them?
I think it's possible, but I think it's really hard. I think the Barkov thing is a big equalizer, right? And if he's not available at all, or even if he comes back, right, are you getting like 60% Barkov? Because Barkov was the massive key against the Oilers, right? Shutting down McDavid and making McDavid's life horrible. And again, this team is very good. Like this team, I like the people said that they may not make the playoffs are crazy to me. I still think this is a playoff team, but it just kind of knocks down their ceiling of being the best team in the NHL to like maybe you get out of the second round without Barkov. And like you said with Tkachuk, right? What does Tkachuk look like when he gets back? And what happens if he goes to the Olympics and gets hurt again? Because, it's a very possible with his style of play and that, he's going to be a physical player and groin injuries or in hernia, like all that stuff. It worries me that he's able to kind of get back to 100%. So I think this team is very it's kind of weird. They're almost like underrated as the two-time defending cup champions, but it's hard for me to see them kind of getting back for a fourth straight time, right? That you have to keep that in mind too, because they lost the first year, then they won two in a row. Going back four times in a row is something that hasn't been done since like the 80s and when there was like five teams played in the NHL. So, it's much harder now. I think the Panthers are a very good team. I think they're going to be a force, but it's hard for me to see them kind of reaching that same ceiling. You run out of gas at some point.
How
Yeah,
about
I agree with JD here because it's not like the Florida Panthers are going to be a powerhouse team. It's kind of going to be reminiscent of when they beat the Bruins, which was the best team in the league. I mean, historic regular season, and then they just proved people wrong because of the Barkov injury. And I think Tkachuk is going to be absolutely fine. He always seems to respond to injuries, and it's not like I'm really worried about him. But I heard that right after the surgery for Barkov with the ACL MCL, that like he was obviously walking when he picked up an award, and then they said that he might come back. And I don't know necessarily what that would look like, but if he did, that would be a big boost for Florida, as well as, they could utilize like the cap, maybe at the trade deadline for LTIR, get him back during the playoffs. And I really like the Seth Jones acquisition. I know we talked about Spencer Knight a little bit, but he's been playing, I think, like over 23 minutes a night with Gustav Forsling, two former Blackhawks that the Blackhawks obviously needed to trade one of them and didn't retain the other. But it's just, I think there's so much power in the East this year that it is scary. I mean, a lot of teams got better. And even the
Mm-hmm.
Leafs, by addition by subtraction, with the Marner thing, they filled out other needs in other areas. I would be shocked if they made it to the finals though this year. But like even New Jersey, they're getting Jack Hughes back, and that's a huge one. So I think it's going to be loaded this year. I'm really excited for how the East shakes up because it's going to be really interesting.
yeah, for me, I think it's possible because I mean, anything is possible.
That's
Like
true.
who thought in 1994 that this new team called the San Jose Sharks would beat this one seed Detroit Red Wings? They did it.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
with a lot of good teams in the East, I don't know if they can do it. But I
I
think
love the fact that you just threw in there. The fact was awesome. 1994. I wasn't even born yet. So that's
Uh,
pretty good.
all of you guys babies. I was 9 at the time. uh,
Wow. I what were your thoughts on that game?
I clearly, do not. I was very busy with my Star Wars toys at the time, so yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, last month I spoke with Randy Hahn about it, and he said that was probably like his favorite moment of his whole thing. Because that was the first year he broadcasted, so
Wow.
yeah.
That's a good one. Yes, that is a very good one. I know. Well, for favorite moment, I mean, for me, one of my favorite Sharks moments. I mean, of course, the Game 7 against Vegas, but
Vegas.
I went to a Game 7 against Calgary in 2007, where former Blackhawk Jeremy Roenick scored twice in that game, and it was on my birthday. And Jess and I went with my friend. Like we got tickets at the very last minute type of thing. We went and like just my it was my first, like playoff game. And not only was it my first playoff game, it was a Game 7. And just the like anxiety of the day, and you're just so excited and just like this do or die moment. And then of course the Sharks win the game, and just like walking out of the SAP Center, I think it was the HP Pavilion at the time. But anyway, just walking out of the building and just like all the excitement for it and stuff like that. One of my all-time favorite Sharks moments, was at least personally for me. So, but yes,
In 1994, you were 9, and in 2007, I was 9. So that's
there
pretty
we
interesting.
go. Full
Yeah,
circle moment here. We
full
got
circle
this.
right there.
Actually.
Yeah.
Speaking of new teams, let's move on to the Western Conference where the Utah Mammoth were almost made the playoffs in their inaugural year. How do you think they will do next this upcoming year?
Well, for Utah, I think that they're very glad they didn't make the playoffs because they jumped into the fourth spot of the draft and then took Caleb Desnoyers, one of my favorite prospects. I think that team is absolutely loaded with their U23 team. I've been a big
Hmm.
fan of watching. I know they the team's not there, but Arizona Coyotes did a fantastic job at drafting, and they really did draft really well, in my opinion. Getting Logan Cooley in that 2022 draft was absolute steal, in my opinion. And then what they did with Dylan Gunther, who I really, really like, and Harabel, who I thought was a Sharks prospect till I talked to Shang when they drafted Ravensburgen the whole time because I don't know why I thought that. But for the whole time, I thought like Harabel was a Sharks prospect, but
I
I
think
really
they
do
wanted to
like.
draft him that year.
Okay.
Like they wanted to get a goalie in that 2023 draft, and I think all the goalies went right before their pick, and
Yeah.
then they ended up getting Brandon Svoboda. But yeah, sorry. Anyway.
No, that's great because I was going crazy. Like, why did I think that the Sharks got Harabel? But first of all, to talk about Ravensburgen, love Ravensburgen. He is awesome. Great personality, great
Great kid.
skater for,
Yep.
yeah. So you guys got a good one there. But for I do think the Mammoth could make the playoffs here. They just have a lot of young talent. I would be surprised if they were in the bottom 10 of the league. So I think that they're going to be in that range.
Um,
Yeah, I just worry about the Central because the Central's such like it is big boy hockey there, right? And as we mentioned, right, we have Colorado, you have Dallas, you have Winnipeg, who also, I mean, they won the President's Trophy last year. I really like the Minnesota Wild, as long as Kaprizov is healthy. I think that team is underrated. You have the Blues, who are going to be bullies every night. I think the Preds, who were horrible last year, I think like there was a lot of, if you look at some of their analytics, like they were just really bad at scoring goals. They did a lot
Mhm.
of positive stuff, but their shooting percentage was horrible last year, and you have a feeling that they're going to be a little bit better this year. I do worry about their division. I could easily see the Central taking both wild card spots, but yeah, I think the Mammoth. I think they're the last team out. I think they're in it to the last minute, but the Central is like it's such a dogfight night in, night out. So I do worry about that. If they were in the Pacific, like clearly, I think they're one of the three best teams in the Pacific. I just think the Central, it's there's some really great teams at the top.
um, yeah. Um, Next, going another cross country to the east, we're going to a big storyline. Sidney Crosby, how do you think his future will go with the Penguins?
You could start on this one, GD.
I it's hard for me to see Sidney Crosby playing for somebody else. I don't think he gets traded. My like put on your tinfoil hat theory here is I think Sidney Crosby stays. I think Malkin gets traded. I think a lot of the other pieces get traded, but I think Crosby stays. I think the Penguins win the draft, and I think they get Gavin McKenna. And I think Crosby is here to usher in Gavin McKenna and kind of be that bridge to the next era of great Penguins hockey. And especially they have new ownership coming, right? I think Uncle Gary, I think he rigs the lottery one more time for the Penguins. 100% conspiracy theory, JD here, but yeah, it's hard for me to see like just some players. It's really hard to see them playing for somebody else. And I think Crosby is loyal to the Penguins. I don't think he gets traded. And I like that's my 100% conspiracy theory.
If Gary Bettman is watching this, like he is.
He's got better things to do. Sorry, AJ, but yes,
Yeah.
yes, Gary's got better things to do. Hopefully,
Okay, but I would agree with you that the Penguins are a shoo-in for McKenna. But if they do a live drawing this year, I think it's going to be a team that's probably outside the top five again because
mm,
the odds of a team just not in the top five, like I really do believe honestly that there has been some rigging in like sports lotteries,
I mean,
and
look
this
at your
goes
team.
back. Yeah. And look at the Rangers when the guy dropped the ball. And it's just like
Yes.
there's so many live moments that have happened. Now that it's an actual live draft, I do think that we're going to see more Islander type wins and Utah Mammoth type wins. I do think, what was it? When the Sharks got Macklin Celebrini, I believe that they won the lottery four times in a they just so the fifth time the Blackhawks finally won, but it's just really interesting how the lotteries are working. So if it's live, it could be anybody could win it. But if they're like, oh, we're not going to do this one live this time, raise an eyebrow and say it might be the Penguins. For your question on Sidney Crosby, though, I do believe that if he does get traded, it's going to only be one team in the mix, like a Patrick Kane to the Rangers, and it's going to be the Avs because there's so many birdies that have said that over and over that he's really good
Mm.
friends with McKinnon, and that would be just a match made in heaven there. But I would be very surprised. It would be like seeing Michael Jordan on the Wizards. Like I don't even want to see it. I would rather Crosby just not even, just be like, I'm not going to win anymore. Let's just retire a Penguin, like 3, 4 more years, whatever it is. But I can't go into next season without, Ovi on the Capitals and Crosby without the Penguins. It just does not look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like it'd be weird watching like Steph Curry play for somebody else, right? As
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Bay Area fan, like Steph Curry, like we saw Steph Curry raise this, the Warriors franchise, and brought a ton of championships and a ton of great memories, and it would just be weird watching him play for like the Dallas Star or not the Dallas Stars, but like the Dallas Mavericks or like some other team or like it's like you would get it as Warriors fans, you would get it because like thank you Steph Curry for everything you did for us, but it's just weird, man.
Yeah.
It was weird watching Klay Thompson with the Mavericks. Like I was like, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, don't
Um,
like it.
yeah. Right now, I'm imagining number 87 in a different team rather than the Penguins, and number 8
Gross.
only in a different team than Capitals Red.
It's gross.
Yeah.
It's gross. We don't need it. Yeah,
Have them
let.
traded for each other.
Ooh, there we go.
I mean, there's a pretty strong rivalry between those two teams, so them working
Yeah.
out a pretty surprising deal would be surprising.
It's always interesting when we talk about Crosby versus Ovi because they're both like the greatest of all time at one thing that they've done. So it's like whatever you want. Do you want a guy that has won multiple Stanley Cups and put up Selke after, incredible point production, or do you want a guy that broke the goal record and won a Stanley Cup? And, they're both Hall of Fame players, like top five ever of all time. So it's really interesting.
And going back to predictions, who do you think will win? The Hart Trophy, the Calder Trophy, and the Vezina Trophy along with the Conn Smythe Trophy. So out of the teams you picked earlier to win the Stanley Cup, who do you think will win the Conn Smythe?
All right, let's start with the Conn Smythe. I'm gonna go Nathan MacKinnon because it's that's low hanging fruit there. If I think the Avalanche are going to win, I think Nathan MacKinnon's really good. That's a pretty hot take right there. Nathan MacKinnon's good at hockey. I think it's either him or Makar. I like that's it's a pretty easy pick between those two, and I'll just go with Nathan MacKinnon. So I'll start with that with the Conn Smythe. So
How about
Uh,
you?
I'd I'd go with Jack Eichel. Um, I just feel like when I see him play, he just reminds me of a guy that's a winner. A fun one would be Mitch Marner. It would be hilarious to
oh
see
my
Twitter that
gosh.
day. Like that would just be so funny. Like he scores a hattie in game 7 or something and they give it
Yeah,
to him.
just
Like
Toronto just melts off the hot takes
Steve
coming out of
Dangle
Toronto.
would, I don't know what Steve Dangle would do there, but that would be a fun one.
How about the Hart Trophy?
I I have a feeling McDavid is on a mission this year to kind of
Mm.
remind people like he's really good. I think his scoring, like he's been more of a setup guy lately, and I think he gets back to being like a 40-50 goal guy this year. And I like there is some voter fatigue with McDavid because it's really easy to just pick McDavid. But again, I'm gonna go low hanging fruit. I think Connor McDavid's good at hockey, and I think he's the best at hockey.
For me, I'm actually going to say your Conn Smythe, which is Nathan MacKinnon. Him, Natchez, as well as Makar are going to just put up unbelievable stats. And I think Nathan MacKinnon is going to be the Conn Smythe, he could be the Conn Smythe and MVP, but I'm going to say he's the Hart this year.
That's fair.
How about the Calder Trophy? Best rookie.
I think this is easy as Demidov. It's Demidov's trophy, right? Unless he gets hurt. I think we're both on the same page here.
Yeah, I would say Demidov. He's definitely the
If
odds favorite.
I was gonna say if taking Demidov out, who do you like other than Demidov? Maybe
Yeah, that was what I was gonna ask next.
There's three guys, everyone four. Uh,
Um,
like Nichun, one of the best teams in the league, and the time on
yep.
ice, and that's going to be very valuable. I think that a guy like Zane Parekh could score a lot of points and be on the ice for as much opportunity as he possibly can. Matthew Schaefer looks absolutely incredible, and I didn't think he would. As well as I'm going to throw in Sam Rinzel too, because the time on ice, like they trust him more than anyone. I think that the Blackhawks see Sam Rinzel as their best defenseman. Um, like they're going to treat him as such too, given power play one time with Connor Bedard. Like he can rack up 45 points plus playing 25 minutes a night on a Blackhawks team, and it's all going to be dependent on like his plus minus because I know people don't like think about that, but if his plus minus is even close to even, there's going to be a different conversation around Sam Rinzel this year. So I would love to see actually Michael Misa win because he was my favorite prospect coming out of this draft. I thought for a little while the Blackhawks were going to get him at 3. I thought that Anton Frandl was going 2 there for a second, a split second. But I think if Michael Misa stays up and doesn't go to the AHL this year, I could totally see a scenario where he is just so loaded with that top 6. There's so much skill there. He's going to be able to fly.
Yeah. I like all your I also like Ryan Leonard too. Cause like Ryan Leonard, maybe a guy who's like exactly what like that power forward, right? He's gonna be playing on a good team with the Caps, and like maybe even if the Caps take a step down, I think Ryan Leonard's still gonna have a big role there. But I think Z William too, on a very good like I said, I really like the Wild this year, and I think Z William's gonna have a big role with them and continue to grow his role here. But yeah, I think it's unless Demidov gets hurt, like I think they've already started etching his name into the trophy here at this point. So
And I like those names that you just threw out. I'm going to throw out one more, and that's Jimmy Snuggerud. Really
it's
great
yeah,
player, and he looks like he is very comfortable in the NHL. He scored 2 goals last night. Somebody that he's just very good. But Zeev was a really good pick. I totally forgot about him.
yeah,
I
so
like Zeev.
covers.com has Demidov obviously as the first, then Zeev,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
Jimmy from the St. Louis Blues, and then Misa, Ryan Leonard, Zane from Calgary, Yaroslav, and a couple others.
Oh, yeah, Yaroslav.
I
They're
like
definitely.
the problem with goalies is like you have like the team has to be good, right? And I don't think the Sharks are going to be good enough. Like you look at Dustin Wolf, right, last year
Yeah.
where he was the top three, and that was because he basically dragged this Flames team to almost to the playoffs. So like goalies, it's real like it's really based on team success. So that like I love Askarov. I just don't think the Sharks are going to have enough team success for him to be kind of in the mix, unfortunately.
Yeah, last year's Calder Award was crazy. I mean, you had Lane Hudson breaking every record for defensemen, and then Celebrini, and then Dustin Wolf, who dragged his team to the playoffs as a goalie. Like, that was an incredible year.
Yep.
And then moving on to the Vizina Trophy.
The Vesa's hard because like it's like you never know with goal. It's easy to always go with Hellebuck because Hellebuck's really good. But I like if the Flames are anywhere near a playoff like mix again, could you see Dustin Wolf winning it? Like I mean, he almost won the Calder last year, and you have a feeling. I still think this Flame team is even with Zane Prek. I still think they're going to struggle to score goals, and they're going to have to win a lot of 2-1, 3-2 type of games. I think a lot of it that's going to fall on the back of Dustin Wolf. So Dustin Wolf is kind of my sneaky like dark horse, even in his second year, to be in the Vesna mix. Does he win it? Probably not. But I just want to talk about Dustin Wolf because Dustin Wolf's fun.
Um,
That's a great question. I'm gonna say Ottinger because he got pulled during one of like the hardest games that he ever got pulled
Yes,
from, and I think that he's going to use that as fuel.
that's a good one too. Yeah, Ottinger with the like bounce back Pete DeBoer. I could see that one
Mm,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, actually I like Ottinger. I like your choice there. I'm switching it. Yeah, I'm going with Ottinger.
I love it. Yeah.
um,
Final answer.
and to wrap it up, let's do some hometown debate. So Macklin Celebrini versus Connor Bedard. And shout out to Anthony for coming up with that question.
Okay. I guess I'm going to support Macklin Celebrini because right. I think it actually kind of comes down to the Crosby versus Ovechkin the discussion we were having earlier, right? And if Celebrini, his biggest comp throughout his draft was Sidney Crosby, like Junior. You saw what Crosby did as a two-way player that you could build around. And again, I think Connor Bedard. Do I think Connor Bedard has a higher ceiling offensively than Macklin Celebrini? I do. I think if you look at the point totals, I think Bedard's going to probably score more points in his career than Celebrini. But I think Celebrini is a better two-way player right now, and I think he's going to be a better two-way player throughout his career. And I think he's going to, like you mentioned, I think he's going to be a Selke contender, and I think he's going to be in the contention for a Hart Trophy as well at some point in his career. And I think it's easier to build like a championship quality team around a guy like that, where you can find guys who can score to put around him, compared to Bedard, who we even right now I think we still have questions: is he a center? Is he a wing? What's his kind of long term play? So yeah, Celebrini, he's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take Bedard's side here. And for me, like I think both of these players are flat out superstars.
Yes.
I would not see a scenario where Connor Bedard ever becomes a better defensive player than Celebrini. If anyone argued that, I'd be like, okay, that I would like to see the stats on that. Like Celebrini just works harder. When I look at Celebrini, he looks like a superstar that plays like a fourth liner. He has that fourth line mentality. He has that dog in him. I like to see Connor Bedard have more of that. I mean, this season he's not taking hits. If he's taking hits, he's going to hurt like just hit somebody and then go straight to the penalty box because we've seen it time and time again. Like in the
Yeah.
first three games, if he gets hit, he is going after you after the whistle. I like to see that. Has bulletin board material up. He looks faster. He I think Celebrini, I would have liked Connor Bedard to have that time with Sidney Crosby that Celebrini did. And I think that a lot of the superstars like appreciate Celebrini, just like how he went about his rookie year too. I think that
Mhm.
Bedard had a lot more confidence and kind of thought he was going to just like transform the NHL. Not, I don't think he thought that, but I think that there was more like McDavid had answered 40 questions about Connor Bedard before Bedard was in the league. I just think that they were a little like, okay, take it from us then. With Celebrini, he was more NHL ready because of the NCAA coming out there. Connor
Yeah.
Bedard was in the WHL. I think Celebrini is such a great player. Like I said, he came up in the Chicago circuit. Everybody kind of knew this guy was going to be the number one pick for years, as well as a superstar. The only person that we thought was because we heard Demidov's season was incredible what he was doing, but we all kind of knew that Celebrini was this dude. And if we didn't get Bernard in the lottery, we wanted Celebrini. So I think that they're both going to be superstars. I think Bedard, like
Yeah.
JD said, has more offensive ability. Other than that, you can't really go wrong with either one. I think the Flames or the Sabres would like die to have either one of these guys.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think this is going to be the next kind of big rivalry, in sports here. Like you said, right? We had Crosby, Ovechkin. I think we're going to eventually get this Crosby or this Celebrini Bedard kind of rivalry going as these teams start to kind of build up here and they start to kind of face each other in the playoffs and stuff. So no, I think the NHL is in great hands here. Like it's very easy to see the young talent coming through the pipeline, and I think also too with some of the new rules that are going to be coming into place, you're going to see players set up for better success with not being so like I have to stay in this one league or I have to stay with this one team. I think we're going to see young players be able to make a better impact sooner because they'll be able to kind of challenge themselves by playing in college or by going to the AHL
Mhm.
early and stuff like that. Not that Celebrini or Bedard needed to go to but I think again, like you're just seeing this great kind of focus on prospects and getting them ready to be NHL players. So it's a great time. AJ, you're coming in at a right time here, buddy, to like start to enjoy a really I think a golden era of NHL hockey here. So
um, I thought that was going to be the final question, but you guys mentioned something earlier when we were debating this that felt that this has to be a new topic that
all right.
it's another debate. Ovi or Sidney Crosby?
Do you want to go, Anthony? I went first last time, so you can go.
Yeah.
Well, this actually is interesting because I would definitely say Sidney Crosby, but I just said Connor Bedard. So I think I might have lost my
You lost your
argument.
own debate. It just
I
goes
mean,
Stephen A on us, and nothing
yeah.
else matters except for this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
that is very funny. Sidney Crosby won 3 Stanley Cups. I'd rather have that kind of career. But honestly, like my super ego would be like score most goals. Like that's pretty cool.
It's
But
pretty cool too.
that's so many celebrations I could do. I mean, but I would probably say Crosby.
I'm with you there. I think it's Crosby. It's funny because like growing up, I like or not growing up, but like younger, like I didn't like Crosby until I think I got older and I kind of recognized just like how important he was and like just how many players look up to him and then like again how he kind of treats these young players and stuff like that and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm taking Crosby too. Like I said earlier, I think it's easier to build around Crosby and again those 3 championships and we forget about the concussions too. Like if he wasn't, dealing with some of the concussion issues that almost made him retire at some point, just how like he could have maybe stacked some more on there as well too. So yeah, he's extremely like once like when you say generational player, like he is like that once in a generation type of player. Like there's not going to be another Crosby, and yeah, it's great to see like enjoy him while you can because the NHL will definitely not be the same once he finally hangs him up. So
Yeah, AJ actually, I we didn't hear your answer for Celebrini and Bedard, and also who are you taking, Crosby or Ovi?
Yeah. So Celebrini Bedard, that's really tough. I mean, they're both really good, obviously.
Come
yes,
to the dark side on this one. Come on.
stick to your roots, buddy.
Um, I'll do Crosby versus Ovi first and have some time to make up to
There you go.
so
Yes.
I would go Crosby because I mean th three Stanley Cup rings, that's pretty amazing. And don't forget, like during those Stanley Cups, on their path, I think they had to face Washington during a lot of those. Uh,
That's a good
um,
point.
It's a
but
good point. Yes.
I don't
And
know.
you don't even like you have the golden goal like in the Olympics too from Crosby. That's like, yeah, that's up there too. Yeah.
That's
Uh
true. Mm.
the golden goal, I remember watching that and just feeling crushed. Yes. Ugh.
McDavid did it in the Four Nations too, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I would go with Crosby. I like both, except when Crosby's against the Sharks. We all know what happened in
Yes.
2016.
Oh,
That was a very sad time.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Crosby. But obviously, Ovi is really good, 895, just this past year. So
Hmm.
all right. Bedard or Celebrini, here we go.
Bedard or Celebrini come to make my mind that I I think it will be Celebrini. And I might say that I'm just comparing them, and I think what put Celebrini over the edge is that I'm from San Jose. That's
Stick to your roots, buddy. There you go.
I
Stick to your
mean
roots.
Great answer. Great answer.
they're both gonna be superstars, Hart Trophy, all that stuff. A lot of the All-Star games, but I'd have to go with Celebrini. I mean, he
Can't go wrong.
he has, as you mentioned earlier, he has that dog in him. Will Smith called him
Yeah.
a parrot during Tyler Toffoli and his wife's interview because just before Celebrini had called Will Smith a donkey
They're
during
awesome. That's
Yes.
the greatest duo.
It's pretty good. It is
Yeah.
very, yes. I think that it's the vibes between like the Sharks compared to the Blackhawks there, where it's just like, yeah, poor poor Bedard, always just so sad, especially last year, just really sad all the time. And yeah,
I think
they're
it's totally different franchises because one, like the people in Chicago can't even watch the games unless you pay $20 for
ugh,
the app. And so not a lot of people even watch. They just watch the box scores. So like the Blackhawks will be like up a lot, and then in the third period, like last year, they just lose the lead. So everybody would just go to the box scores and be like, "Oh, Bedard didn't score, he stinks."
yeah.
But the vibes for the Sharks are absolutely incredible. That Tyler Toffoli TikTok account with Michael Misa dressing up for the and Sam Dickinson. Like you guys have like so much to admire or to watch, I guess, and the vibes are just awesome. So great job on that. You know, s- the Dumb and Dumber from Celebrini and Will Smith was fantastic. So
Perfect.
he
Perfect.
definitely wins the personality award.
That's all that matters.
but I will also point out that the Blackhawks have won 6 Stanley Cups. Well, unfortunately, we have zero, but we will win someday.
You guys could
Yeah.
take one of ours.
Yeah.
Fun. Just
Which
give us a
one?
Misa.
Visa for a
Well,
cup.
yeah. Uh, one
Which
of the
one?
early ones.
One
Which
of
One of the
the,
one?
early
yes.
ones.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
34 or 38, not one where Patrick
Yeah, the one of
hit.
the, like,
yeah,
yeah.
38. We'll go 38. 34 was I was there watching. It was a good one.
I would rather take the Patrick Kane game-winning goal one.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Sure, I'll take one. I'll take one cup for us.
yes.
You guys could have it.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank
We,
you.
we'll take your pity cup.
Now I shall talk with the Blackhawks owner.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll send you his email. I found it online yesterday.
So that was all we have. So thank you again, Anthony and JD. I know it's getting somewhat late in Chicago, but thank you both for joining me here.
Always a pleasure, AJ. Whenever you need it, I'm sure I will not speak for Anthony, but I'm sure either one of us will probably be back whenever you like, buddy. This
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah, this was awesome. I had a great time. Like JD said, whenever you need me, just like send out the Prospect on bat signal. I'll be there. This was great. Your questions were awesome, and you're awesome. Keep doing a great job with your incredible interviewing. And yeah, this you're getting into it at the right time. Sharks are going to the moon soon.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys.